Welcome back to Newsline. I'm Carissa Shale. Recent figures released by the Graduate Outcome Survey revealed that almost 3/4 of 2018 university graduates gained employment 4 months after leaving university. The study showed that students in the fields of pharmacy and medicine had the highest rate of graduate employment, with students in the creative arts, tourism and hospitality with the lowest rates of employment. The study also revealed that only 57% of graduates felt their university degree adequately prepared them for the workforce. Today, we have business coach and analyst Nancy Huang in the studio to give us some insight into transitioning from university to the workforce. So Nancy, we're now halfway through the year and a lot of university students are already starting to prepare themselves for full-time work. What advice would you give to a student?
I would suggest that they actually prepare their resumes really well. Look back at what they've done in the last 3 or 4 years at their university degree and really pick out the salient points in terms of what really will sell them in the marketplace. And also I'd really encourage people to actually try to get some part-time jobs, volunteer if necessary, or do some internships, or even just be able to shadow people in a workplace situation so that they can actually get a sense of how workplaces really are run and how they would actually enjoy the field that they've actually chosen to be in.
You mentioned internships. What about international study or international experience?
Yes, absolutely. All those things are really great, not only just in terms of your resume, but also in terms of giving you that live experience that that a lot of young people really need to set themselves apart in this competitive workplace.
You have particular expertise in the world of business and banking. So what are employees in the business field looking in particular from a graduate?
Sure. In the business area, it's really, what we're really starting to find is that it's really a convergence of, say, technology, business, even things like journalism, communications, marketing, and lots of different areas all converging in terms of meeting our business needs. What we're finding is that it's not really just the technical skills that we're really after. In fact, far more important, what we're really looking for are really the soft skills, the ability for people to be able to collaborate, work in teams, but also be able to think independently, to be able to actually take the initiative, take that responsibility and accountability, to show that they are actually able to think and be creative problem solvers. So those are some of the qualities that we're really looking for in young graduates today.
So moving on to some interview skills.
Yep.
I imagine you've done quite a few job interviews in your life, as well as had to be on the other end of that as well.
Yes.
So what are the most important things that you should consider when going into a job interview?
I think prepare. Really, I mean, obviously dress the part, dress for the job that you actually want, and also really prepare for the questions that your interviewer might ask of you. So once again, it's not just about the technical skills, it's really about in that short half-hour to hour interview session, you need to be able to showcase your talent, but also be able to actually show people who you really are, what you stand for, and what you will actually bring to the table to the employer.
So what do you think the most important things for any university student to do right now before they leave university? Do you think it's important to be speaking to their lecturers and their professors and really asking a lot of questions?
I think, well, obviously in your final year you've already done most of your degree, so it's really about getting a sense as to whether you would like the area or the field of study that you've actually pursued as it translates to the workplace. So it's really important, but I want to also encourage people to actually to seek out experiences, to really try different things. So your first job is never going to be your lifelong job, rarely going to be your lifelong job. So really, in the first few years of your work life, it's really about experience. Think that as the first and foremost of the asset that you will actually try to gain in the first few years of your working life.
You've already touched on it, but you just mentioned that people have lots of different careers and different jobs in their lifetime. How do you think we can prepare for that kind of flexibility in our life and our career?
Okay, yeah, great question actually. So what we're finding is that adaptability or agility is really, really coming to the fore in terms of what employers are actually seeking. That's really the ability to be able to be flexible about what you're working. So in a journalism degree, for example, you can't restrict yourself to say, I just want to work in print media. I need to be flexible in terms of saying, okay, well, maybe I can work in public relations because that's about communication, it's about writing. Maybe I could actually stretch a little bit further and try something like marketing. So in the world of business, it's exactly the same thing. So we don't actually just look at finance or accounting or just playing with numbers. We're actually looking at a divergence of different aspects of the world. And that's why diversity and agility are very, very important in the new world of work.
In your time in the business field, obviously, there's been a lot of adaptations in technology, but what do you think has been the biggest shift in the business world?
The biggest, I think technology definitely first and foremost. I work in banking, and the digitization of anything that we do is just so prevalent now. I mean, if you look at, you're probably banking on your mobile phone. I would imagine you probably have a mobile bank app. I mean, if you look back, say 20 years ago, ATMs weren't even probably around, and we've started with the ATMs to essentially to provide a technology avenue for you to be able to withdraw cash and deposit cash. And now we're actually getting so far away from the physical nature of cash that we're actually using credit cards, and it's now not just about the physical credit cards. We now have Apple Pay, Google Pay, and lots of different technology disruptions in the banking sector. And this is not alone. You can see newspapers, photography, and lots of different industries being disrupted by technology. And that is definitely one of the key aspects that young graduates really need to get a handle on.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I don't think most of us don't really carry much cash anymore. But do you think this is dangerous?
Cash?
Not carrying cash, not having that idea of hard currency.
Yeah. I think not carrying cash per se is probably not a dangerous thing. I think what we have to be very conscious of is security, about and privacy and security. So obviously things like PINs, you have to make sure that no one knows what it is. Have to make sure it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, most of the banking apps would actually disallow you from actually punching in 1, 2, 3, 4 as your PIN. So be really conscious that maybe on the occasion change those PIN numbers so that other people don't actually come around to guess what they are, and just be really secure about how you actually use your digital apps and how you actually access your digital money.
Fascinating. I will just move a little bit back into the waters of business and graduating. Just in terms of networking, what advice would you give and how to network?
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Look, I think what's really, really important is that you've obviously, a lot of the graduates today come from a cohort of other fellow graduates. So it's really important to keep up those connections, because they're essentially your peers who will be most likely be traveling in similar fields. And also, alumni and associations like that are really, really important. If you happen to end up in a sort of largest corporation, there will be other sort of similar age peers, or in fact people, it doesn't even have to be people from a similar age. There will be lots of different social clubs and different aspects like that where you can actually start the network. In places like banking, we actually have lots of different mentorships and informal guidance, if you like, where we can actually help people to actually broaden their horizon and also move in their career path.
Great, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today, Nancy, and
No
your
worries.
insight is really valuable for all of us.
No worries. Thank you.
We'll be taking a quick break and we'll be back very shortly.
Thank you.